Hello, my name is Ben from Amago Dorper Stud, and on today's show, we are excited to be with our very good friend and our vet at the farm, Dr. Cheruiyot. Welcome to today's show, where we'll be talking more about breeding and the importance of doing your breeding plan. Thank you. So, Daktari, karibu sana for today's show. Thank you. With Dr. Cheruiyot, we've walked this journey for over 10 years now, and it's been an interesting one. Looking back from where we started with 5 sheep to where we are today, not only in terms of quantity of growth of number of sheep, but also the quality of the sheep. And he's been one pillar of support for our farm. And as we all know, the importance of health cannot be underscored. And we are very happy with the partnership, the way we've gone together. And today he's here with us just to discuss a bit more on the importance of breeding and especially looking at the ram selection. So, Daktari, you'll notice today we have a few of the boys here who form part of our breeding stud. And, from your own experience, what should one look out for when they are selecting a good ram or matching up their rams with their ewes?
Thanks, Ben, for being with you today as we look at ram selection. And the first key thing to look at is body score. Even before looking in terms of any other traits or characteristics, body score is very key. If you can look at one of these prime rams here, you can see in terms of the body score of if you give it 1 to 5, we'll say is at least body score of around 4, which is a very good body score we are looking at in terms of breeding. Because breeding requires energy, and basically breeding requires also energy. And if you have a low body condition, which is less than 2 body score of 2, then you are compromising on breeding. The second thing to look at is in terms of the trait is you have to look at the legs. If you can look at the legs, you have a very, very strong legs here. This beautiful ram here, because when mounting, you require very, very strong legs, as you can see. Okay. Now, the most very key thing is also to look at because we are interested in this organ, the testicles. So testicles are very key. If you look at it now, it is a bit pendulous in terms of this pendulous. In nature, you want to look at is actually the testicles you want to look at.
Yes.
For a breeding ram. Another thing is you need to look at the muscles. Okay?
Yes.
You look at the muscles?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Another one is also the abdominal, in terms of the abdomen. How much can that ram take in terms of the food intake? It's open. It's open as you can look at. Okay?
Yes.
You can look at the open chest.
Yes.
Ben can add one point also in terms of the selection series. Karibu Ben.
Okay. Just from experience, something else I look at, especially when it comes to the pairing, is the rump. I'm looking for a ram that has a solid rump at the back. Because remember, especially if you're breeding them for meat, you would want your rump to be big and wide and almost to have a table kind of top. And this is what would be transferred onto its progeny. Keeping in mind that the ram will actually form 50% or either symbolize 50% of your flock. So it's important that even as you choose your ram, you look at those critical aspects and features and traits that Dr. has talked about. Going back to the size of the testicles, it's also important that they are well balanced, that you don't have one that is, elongated. They should be well balanced, just like this boy here. And you'll notice when you touch, the guy will actually try to lift them up. That's also important because it means the nerves are working well. Yeah. Another thing to look at in your ram, you're looking at the strong jaws. Yeah. Your ram needs to have some strong jaws because remember, this is also a trait, a genetic trait that will be transferred into its young ones. Because with good strong jaws, it means it can be able to chew its food much better, and the chances of it having a longer life is actually there, or is going to be at an advantage when one has strong muscular jaws. So, Daktari, when it comes to the ratio, I know this has been a lot of talk behind that,
Yes.
but when it comes to the ratio of one ram to how many ewes, what would be your recommendation?
Normally, if you have a ram, you can successfully take care of 20 to 30 ewes. Yeah.
Okay.
One ram for 20 to 30 ewes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Yeah. And when we talk about the feet, or the hoofs for that matter, would you recommend to hoof trim before your breeding seasons, or should you just do it, as an occasional thing once a year? What would be your recommendation?
The recommendation is to do also an assessment, because if you have deformed hoofs,
yes,
actually that one compromise reproduction. So it is very key when you want to do your breeding. You can also assess the status of the hoofs.
Yes.
If they are deformed or they are long, it needs to be trimmed, because that one also is very key in terms of reproduction aspect.
Okay.
So it is very key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And now, when it comes to the key subject of nutrition,
Yes.
What role does nutrition play in breeding?
Right. Basically, nutrition is very key in terms of, first, you need energy when you want to, in terms of even sperm production or the semen production. You will also require that. And most of the energy, if you don't have adequate energy for reproduction, it will actually be put in other things in terms of providing energy for the animal. So it is very good that nutrition is very key. It will, so that it will balance between taking care of the metabolism of the other physiological needs of the ram, and now the reproduction, which is very key in terms of semen production to that effect. So nutrition is, yes, very key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll also notice that in terms of the length of the breeding cycle, what would be your recommendation, especially for farmers as we breed our rams, so that we don't overuse them? We've spoken about the ratio, where we are talking about one ram to 25 to 30 ewes. But for what duration of time should the ram be with the ewes?
I would say that in terms of you, when you select your ewe or your ram for that particular case, remember the ram also ages with time, and the fertility drops. So it is very key you consider in terms of also the offspring. You don't want to do inbreeding. If you have your ram in the farm for a long time, again, you risk doing the inbreeding aspect.
Yeah.
So it is very key that you take care of the cases of inbreeding.
Yeah.
So basically, you should have your ram at least in your farm 4 to 5 years maximum.
Okay.
So that you get other young rams actually to take over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is very key.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And when it comes to that breeding period, when you the joining,
Okay.
how long should that ram be with the ewes?
Okay. Basically, it depends also in terms of your numbers, but basically, you can do 3 to 1 month. That is three weeks, 4 months, depending on your number of animals in that you have, so that you're able to capture all animals in that particular cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe just to add a bit on that, here at Amago Dorpers, from our own experience, we put in the ram for about 40 days. Why we do that is because the ewes come on oestrus every 17-day cycle. So just in case the boy misses him in the first cycle, you get him on the second cycle. And hence, it will be a period of between 34, 40 days. So we put him in for 40 days, and after that we get the ram out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Dr. Cheruiyot, just for our viewers,
Yes.
Maybe you could tell us, are there any climatic conditions that would be more ideal or less ideal for breeding?
There are, especially you find that most of the mating, like right now, it's very hot, and we expect if you are doing your breeding right now, it will be compromised a bit. So, especially mating, they can do it in the evening, okay? Because actually the hot sun compromises the semen production. So it is very key that mating also can be planned, and your mating can be done at least twice in a year. So it depends exactly when you want to have your lambing season. It is very good to consider in terms of you want to do your breeding when you have adequate food and also less conditions like what we have right now, because you have to spend more in terms of maintaining the animals to be in the condition you can see them right now. So those are the factors you want to factor in. Yeah. So climatic conditions do affect the factor of reproduction. But I would say sheep are very hardy animals. They can do well even in cold areas, and depending on your objective, you are doing it for example for wool, then they do it in very cool climate for that particular case.
Yeah.
So it depends on which breed you want to do, for which type of what you want to produce in that particular climatic condition.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just to add on to that, when it comes to our breeding cycle, we also try to keep in mind the weather patterns. Why do we do that? Is because our sheep have been on free range system, so we would like our lambs to be born when it has rained, so that as Dr. has well put it, then it's a bit more soft on our pockets. So what we try to do is ensure our breeding. For example, we put in the ram in October, November, with the plan that the lambs will be born in April of the following year. So by that time, it has rained, God willing, and then with the rain, it means the mother will have enough pasture to be able to take care of the young one, and we'll have to do a bit less supplementing at that point in time. Yeah. And when it comes to deworming, what would be your recommendation as you prepare for your breeding? Should you look at it from a point of, should you deworm right before you breed or in between the breeding period?
I would say there are two things you need to consider. You can do what is called strategic deworming. And strategic deworming basically is that you do when you want to have the breeding season, when the breeding season sets in. So you can do that just before the mating season comes in. You can also consider doing it when you want to look at in terms of the rainy season. So you can also do before the rainy season kicks in. So basically, there are two approaches when you are doing your deworming. So those are the factors you want to consider. Are you breeding right now, or is it going to rain in maybe in a month's time? Is when you can do your deworming. And deworming basically depends. The dewormers you want to do depends on your climatical zones. There are some which does best in an area which is not swampy. In swampy areas, you use different categories of dewormers. In places where you don't have marshy areas, there are good dewormers or broad spectrum dewormers to utilize in that particular case.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And another important aspect is the vaccinations. I know our viewers are very keen, and farmers out there are very keen to know, are there any particular vaccinations that are important, especially in the breeding season, that one may need to take care of, or just in the life cycle of the sheep?
Basically, there are key conditions that you need to take care of in sheep, and one of the which is the most killer for small rams or small sheep is actually called Clostridial enterotoxemias, which are caused by Clostridium perfringens. And basically, you want to do your vaccinations even when the lambing season is approaching. It's also good to cover the flock or the youth with the vaccine.